in the final part of my story. All other parts of the story are in the comments. I have been in an irritable mood the past 2 days, and my son was pushing my buttons. Typically, I can handle it, but yesterday he was focused on the junk wood. This has been an issue for over a week. He gets fixated on things and will not let up. He has problems. He is fairly high functioning and has OCD and some other issues. He is a good kid but has the mind of a 12-year-old. Sometimes the only way to get through to him is to get angry, like with the firewood. All we need is one neighbor complaining, and we will never be allowed to have a fire again. Ever, ever. No matter how many times I tell him that, he insists on trying to burn the crappy wood. XX, he gets fixated on things and has a hard time letting go of it. My wife, she can't take someone being angry with her, nor me raising my voice at all. Last night, my anger was not righteous. It was a result of feeling disrespected about the firewood, the sneakers, the whole affair. I felt totally disrespected by my wife, and the firewood and sneakers triggered those feelings. It was not the anger that caused her to think that I am leaving God. It is what I said, that I feel I have no hope about the marriage, that I feel inadequate, just that she had caused so much pain I don't know if I will be able to make it to the other side. I told her there are times I just feel like passing out, that she has made me feel like a piece of crap. I have told her to expect me to get angry about her affair. That to me is all right within reason. I know that leaving was the best thing to do last night. I tell my vets to get out before they blow up. The main reason I am on edge is the big elephant in the room. My wife's accounting for her activities. As of today, I've asked her some questions, but I have not asked for much. As she says, she wants to give me an accounting. I want to get it over with. I know it will be very painful. Some people can't do it. I want to hear the truth. I want her to give an accounting because she never did. All I got over the years were lies or half-truths, or I don't remember. She does not seem to be stalling. I thought she was, and I am not saying this to excuse her for not having it done. I was mad about this last night. She wants to get it all out and not have me come back and ask her a bunch of questions as to why she did not mention this or that and have me get mad about leaving things out. She said she got hung up on the dates. I mentioned this before. I have the dates for the most part, and I will not get upset if she says I was with the other man on the 31st when it was the 27th. That is not a big deal to me. What is a big deal to me, as far as dates go, is if she says we met once in October, and I know it was 3 times, or if she says she does not remember. The other thing is she knows I know a lot more because I spoke to the other man, and I do believe he was 100% truthful about what they did and when they did it. And I do believe she wants to get this behind her. She knows I will not give up. She told me she was very irritated when I kept mentioning dates. She knew I had the proof, and she kept saying, I don't remember, and I would not take that as an adequate answer. I told her if you had mentioned that you had slept with the OM 6 times in 2 years ago, I would have dropped it because I had proof. But because she kept insisting that it was 4 times, I knew she was lying. I don't want to cry, nor a month from now or 2 years from now, her telling me, Oh, I left this out because I knew it would be too painful. Painful getting it out now and being done with it, I am anticipating lots of pain. I do expect that once this is out, I can process it and perhaps start to finally put it a history on me or move on from the marriage. I will have to see. A few months ago, when she left for a weekend to spend time with her younger brother, she took my son with her. His phone dialed my phone and they did not know it. And I heard their conversation. Since appear my wife and son were arguing. And my son was calling her a derogatory name, cursing her out and saying, "Dad says I have a good heart." My wife told him, "Your dad will use this against me the rest of his life. I'm going to be alone, and this is all I need right now is you calling me names." So I know that her mindset was not to reveal anything as we were headed for D. It was when her heart changed about D and wanted R that she knew that she had to come out with what I had asked for over the last several years and never got from her. My wife told me that she knows if she tells me the whole truth, I will get over it. That she trusts me and feels good about getting it all out. Her words are the truth will set me free. Last night I asked her 3 questions. I knew the answer to one and she answered them without hesitation and in my mind truthfully. What bothers me is, if I were in her shoes, she would have had the account within a few days. That would be her priority. She's told me on several occasions that she feels that I will not hold this stuff over her head in the future, and I don't plan on it. The reason I've held on to this crap and kept bringing it up over the years is that I kept telling her that she was lying or denying things, and until she comes clean, I will never rest. If she does, it will become a thing of the past. I think I know most of it right now from what the other man told me and the evidence I have. If there is something that is just too much to handle, then I always have D as an option. But I do not plan to hold this stuff against her after I process it and have my questions answered. Accounting has begun. Years ago, 9 times. I knew of 7 for sure. The other 2 were speculation on my part. I did not have absolute proof, so I was not obsessed about those dates. I just left her speak. When she said 9 times, but was unsure of the exact dates. I will sit down with her tomorrow and give her all 9 dates. She does remember where more hotels than she told me in the past 2 years. It was all I could take, so we will continue with her story tomorrow. Exit said I can only take so much. She is still denying that there was any physical thing with the OM in 10 plus years ago. She did have an emotional affair with 4 guys on the internet, which I had evidence on. We went and got a hot tub tonight from 3 college kids that have to move. Cheap, and we got extra help loading it, and it unloaded really easy. My wife started giving me her account last night with the 1 ohm from within the past 3 years. We did not get through it all. She mentioned 9 times of the affair 2 years ago. I knew of 7, 100 sure, but the other 2 actually have the dates but not the proof. I suspected that she hooked up on those times but could not prove it. And I just let it go. Now I know. She remembered what hotels were on each of those occasions, no memory issues. There was no physical contact from Nath. Be 29 till about July. new phone in December and lots of texting. Here is the problem for me with their renewed hookup after 8 months of not being together. She knows the day of the week, what she was doing, but can't recall the date or the month. She told me she knows this will be an issue for me, as she did not meet with me for over 8 months and does not remember. She told me that she knows I will think that this is significant, that she should remember the date. She claims she does not remember. Anyway, I am not letting this go. Get the following, she did not talk about last night, and we will get to this stuff at some point. Based upon emails and texts, there was dinner and that was it. He does seem to have had other intentions, as he mentioned several times how lonely he is, but the conversations between them were fairly boring. They did talk about going out to dinner and a ball game in the future. There were several phone calls, text messages and emails after February 6th, when I told her I am going to pursue D in her conversation with the OAM on February 7th this year. She mentioned that there were other men that wanted to sleep with her. Not sure how these men contacted her. She did not have Facebook during this time. The OM asked her if she was going to do it, and she replied something along the lines of I might. Her initial response to my question about this was she told me she was trying to make the other man jealous. I do not buy it. The men she contacted were all after I told her I was going to do this. She said in her mind we were separated and she wanted to meet new people. This is what she told me over a week ago. And then she was interested and stopped contacting her months ago. She kept after him and he just did not reply. When I sent him a message pretending to be my wife, he called my wife nuts, and that is why he stopped contacting her. So far, all I could take was a big brush off of 2 years of the affair with the other man. Tonight, I plan on getting into the dates. I have them. I also want to talk about these other men. Since she did not have Facebook till after Feb, how did they contact her and how did they know about her? I do not believe she did it to make the other man jealous. There is more to this story and we will get there. Like I said, I can only take so much. Her story so far is that she said that to make the other man jealous. When I stated to her last night, this does not make sense. I said, you started your new Facebook accounts after Feb 7th when I confronted you with the recording. You did not have Facebook till after that. I know about the guys after this time, but who are you referring to on February 7th, and how are they contacting you? She said, you're right, I did not have Facebook. I don't know, I have to listen to the recording to get the context. She said she only used the phone for the OM prior to February 7th, and then only used it to contact a few guys after I threatened D. She claims to have destroyed the phone, and I will never know for sure. It was a track phone, and I can't find any way to get the info online, as all the information says it can't be done without the phone. I was so angry last night. My wife cried and cried. She's been calling me all day and I will not respond. I'm leaving work soon and we are supposed to go to Maryland tonight to spend the weekend. My son and dog are going with us and I just don't feel like going. My youngest son said he is ready to speak to his mother and we set it up for tomorrow morning. My wife does not know about it yet. I just don't know what I am doing yet. head home and see what happens. I know she has the car packed up. Tuesday evening on the way home from work, my wife said something that really triggered me. The conversation that followed from that evening through the weekend was ugly, but good. Ugly for me, and it needed to be said. I don't regret saying a word based upon her words to me and her actions. Her actions that followed were good. She could have walked out of the room, but she sat and listened. Everything so far leads me to believe she gets it for the first time in years. I arranged for my youngest son and heir to meet early on Saturday. He's refused to talk to his mother for months, and they were very close prior to the discovery in February and the events of last year. We did not stay long, but the two of them reconciled a little. He is still skeptical. My wife did not sugarcoat anything or blame shift. She took full responsibility for what she has done. My wife told me that she wanted to give me a great weekend and pamper me. She would say this kind of thing to me last year, promise me the moon and then turn around and say, "Oh, I forgot," and not follow through with things she told me she was going to do. Well, she gave me a great weekend. I triggered a few times, and she stuck with me. Saturday night was horrible for me. I will leave out the details, but it got really ugly around 2 and my son was awake and he got in my face. I had it. As my wife woke up, intervened, my son apologized, and my wife really came through for me. All I will say is that my reaction to the events of Saturday night was not wrong. My wife understood what I was going through, and my son pushing my buttons was overwhelming, and my wife intervened. Last year she would not have done it. Does she seem any more sincere this time around? Yes, for once in her life I believe she is sincere. I remain skeptical. She's told one lie that I had a poor reaction to a few weeks ago, but so far I have gotten the truth on everything she has told me thus far. Did she seem sincere on your last attempt at reconciliation? Not at all. Looking back from day till her confession a few weeks ago, there was no sincerity at all. But just smoke and mirrors, like for pendants, lies, deceit, ever-ending the affair. That is why I was so angry. I knew the dates of when she was with the other man 2 years ago, and she kept denying it. She would not talk about 3 years ago. She kept lying to me, and I thought things were okay, but they weren't. I could feel that she was not into me. She had no respect for me. I kept giving and giving, and she was not giving me much back. She was playing me big time, and I was miserable. Looking back these past 3 years, she was not sincere at all. Does she understand why she has zero credibility? She tells me over and over again that she created this mess, that she has caused her family, my sons and I, not to trust her. She states that she understands why we do not believe her. She says that she will prove to us, my sons and I, that she is sincere this time, that she has changed. She says she will be accountable, truthful, and will gain our trust. Ironically, as I've put together things in her life, it is pitiful. Her support was one mentally ill older sister and one very weak younger brother. Nieces, and they were lying to her about wanting to go out. They never went out. So people from high school that she had not been in contact with in over 30 years, a girlfriend that she knew growing up. the who could care less about my wife. A guy we knew in college and a few guys she met on Facebook in February and March. Even some of her so-called high school friends that she contacted knew better than to get involved. I saw the emails and frankly, it was sad. Some of the guys on Facebook were calling her nuts. Only one of her so-called high school friends have followed her on our joint Facebook. So much all the others are gone. I seriously think they feel burned by her. I feel burned by her lies. She wrote to them and apologized, and only one replied back and stuck with her. There was one college girlfriend that my wife and I were both writing to during this time. She's a solid person and listened to both of us. She never bought my wife's lies and she believed me. She kept telling me that my wife needs a good friend. My wife told me if the pastor told her family things she shared with him and his wife, she will also bring a lawsuit against him. I did not ask my wife to do this. She will be talking to her younger brother to see what her family said at the wedding. My wife says her family is important to her, and she says her family is her sons and me. My wife shared with me her disappointment with her older brothers and sisters. She said she wrote them over 2 weeks ago, asking for their forgiveness and has not heard anything back. I said, they are dead to me. I said they supported me until it passed her. That her oldest brother met once and her other older brother never met, sent an email lying about me and they believed him and did not even bother to ask me about it. I said your family is all about gossip and secrets. I said when our deceased brother-in-law wanted to tell me about his suspicions when I was in Iraq, the family forbade him to tell me. I said your older brother got mad at me when I reported this pastor to the district for lying and breaching confidentiality. They threw away over 30 years of friendship over a lying pastor. I told my wife, you are upset over them not replying to your request for forgiveness, and you expect me to have sympathy after what they did to me. Your middle sister is nuts. Your oldest sister is a mess, and our niece and her husband are lying to you about why she has not been in contact with you during this entire ordeal. She told the family she wants to have nothing to do with you, and yet you believe them when they tell you it is only because she has been ill. The truth of the matter is her husband and daughters tiptoe around her meds, cover up for her, and lie to you about why she does not meet with you. I said, the last time you saw her was at our brother-in-law's funeral last May, and you told the other man that you love this sister and have so much fun with her. Yet the truth of the matter is you have not done anything with her in over a year. Did not do much with her prior to our brother-in-law's funeral. Complained to me about her for years. I said, where have your older brothers been in your life? Your oldest brother has not talked to you for over a year. Your middle brother thinks you are nuts. Seriously, other than the youngest one, I owe him a few thousand. I'm done with her family. And once I get the youngest one paid off, I will no longer watch his house when he goes on his trips. He has a trip planned to India soon, and I am hoping to pay him off with Sal. I just want them all out of my life. They say that blood is thicker than water, and it may be, but I also told my wife I have given up my family over hers for years. Holidays, weddings, funerals have been almost entirely her family. I said my family have given me advice during these times. My mother, a saint, prayed for us and kept her nose out of our business. He says my oldest brother, converted to Judaism years ago, kept telling me to try to work things out. He has been married 3 times, knows the ugliness of divorce, is very successful, knows everyone, has spent time with Klein Dion in her Florida home. My older sister would listen to me and gave me a backup plan to move in with my mother if things went really bad for me. I said my family never gossiped about us. They're not judgmental and love you,
said my brother-in-law, offering his New England wisdom, try to work things out.
He knew how bad my wife acted. I told my wife I would put my non-believing family members against yours any day of the week. They have more common sense, are all non-judgmental, would forgive my wife if I did, and would continue to love her. I said, my family understands that people are not perfect, and they are the salt of the earth. I told my wife, your family turned on you and me, and their silence says it all. I said, if you have turned to God, then what does the Bible say about leaving your mother and your father and cleaving to your spouse? I said, you never left your family. I said, you demanded it of me, yet you never did leave yours. I said, if you're sincere in your desire to serve God, then it is time to leave them and focus on your real family, our boys and me. I told my wife her family, brothers, sisters, mother, father, always came at my expense. I told her as the week ended with them. I told her, as far as I am concerned, they are dead to me, and I mean dead. I told her, if you want a relationship with them, it will be without me, and I will not be part of it. I said, some of them have been involved in your illicit affairs, covered up your infidelity, lied, gossiped, and turned their backs on the both of us. So, if you're sincere about working things out with me, then end it with them. I said, I have had little to do with my family over the years because of you. I said, you always wanted to do things with your family other than a yearly vacation with my parents. We did very little with my family. She says she just wants to focus on the boys and me. I don't know what will happen down the road with her family. Right now, I don't care. For me, they can all go pound sand. I told my wife if one of them dies, I will not go to their funeral. I said, after what you did to me and our brother-in-law, who considered me his best friend. And he passed last year, and we had not talked in years. Because my wife and her sister broke up our relationship. I told my wife, you went to his funeral, told me to stay home, made up with your sister by lying about me, and left me in the dust. My wife has said over and over again that she has caused this mess and has claimed that it is all her fault. I can't agree more. I had a friend stop by the office yesterday. He called me and said he was in the area and wanted to stop by and chat. He knows the story. He wanted to see firsthand how I was doing. He called me a saint. My wife last night called me a righteous man. I am neither. I'm a man of unclean lips, not a holy man, not a saint, nor am I righteous. My wife told me last night that I am on the other side, that my pain is lessening. She told me that she feels like scum, crap, that she is low as you can get. That's as we were sitting on our back porch steps watching Rudy, our golden retriever. She was telling me how she hurt me. I was not in the mood to offer her any sympathy at all. She told me she prayed for me throughout the day. She must have picked up on my feelings and said in a very soft way that she does not expect sympathy from me, and said she wants to focus on my pain. As she is telling me her story, having the recordings and years worth of evidence, it is all just fucking hard to put it into perspective. Here's the woman I have loved with everything I had, the mother of my 2 boys, and she just kept cheating like it was nothing. There's some drama with her family, and the pastor is almost comical, then trying to control me, and at times being successful in their attempts. I have learned, right now, I am just an autopilot seeing what will happen. Maybe I will not be able to continue with my wife. If I had to decide right now, I would say no way. But my thoughts go hither and yon. I have enough projects to keep me busy, and I am taking next week off to get things done around the house. I may plan a trip to Scotland later this year and may go myself. I still have to get my professional license, and I'm slowly working on that. My head is better able to focus, but I just don't have the spark for my wife anymore. I do see a significant change in her. Each factor I see it, feel it, and believe it, but I don't know if that will ever be good enough for me. There may be too much damage. We shall see. My reality is that I wanted the truth, and I believe I am getting it. My wife keeps telling me that everyone gave up on her except me, and that she will always be grateful for that. I told her I was no longer holding out any hope for our marriage. I felt it was over and I was done with it. My only concern was her soul. It seems to be on the right path in that regard, and I feel I accomplished my work in regard to her soul. I have really been reading the scriptures and have gained some new insights. This is nothing earth-shattering, but certainly a new perspective on the reality of life. I remember when I was not a believer. My grandfather passed in 1975. He fell off a ladder and broke his neck. I loved him. My world crashed. He had just put a new roof on his barn by himself and was working a part-time job as a janitor at a school and fell from a ladder putting in a light bulb. He was 75 years old. He would take me fishing and hunting. Pictures. All I remember about that summer in 75 was a drunken blur. Out with my friends drinking whiskey almost every night. Feeling sorry for myself. He loved his farm, his family, and was a hard-working man. Loved the outdoors. Took me out hunting for snapping turtles. By his life and example, family was everything. And everything to him was his family. I wish he was still around. He would know what to say to me. I know what my grandmother would say. Opie, you can work it out. God is bigger than anything you will ever face, and all your problems are small compared to God. Just seems so unfair that some of the wisest people in your life are not around when you need them. Last night and today was hard for me. I took my wife out for dinner last night. She is going to have a procedure done tomorrow and can't eat today. We had a good time, but then I triggered last night. I did not get angry. I just shut down and took a shower and went to bed. My wife asked me what was wrong, and I told her. She told me over and over again how sorry she is. At the same thing this morning. She kept telling me that she wants to make everything up to me. I feel like I've been punched. one day at a time. 1. The pastor. Still, I don't know what I will do with him. Afraid of me wants to file a tort claim against him for violation of confidentiality. My wife believes my version of what I shared with the pastor. He told her I never brought up certain things, which is BS. We met 3 times, and the second and third time were discussions about those things that he said I never mentioned. That when confronted, he admitted to forgetting those things, but never cleared it up with my wife. My wife's family. Her youngest brother is the only one who has been in contact with her, and that has only been very sparse since early May. My wife sent out a brief message over 2 weeks ago, and there was no response. She wants to send out another email today or tomorrow taking full responsibility for what she did. I support this, but I keep telling her that I am finished with her family. She said she will show me the email before she sends it. She stated to me last night that she does not want to go into detail with her family, which is fine with me. 3. Her friends. Over the past 2 weeks, some have confronted me via Facebook, and it was nasty stuff. I set one straight, and my wife set the others straight, at least to apologize to me. One of her old high school friends remained on our joint Facebook account. She apologized to me and stated that when my wife was sharing her story, she said it did not make sense, but she felt my wife was being abused. After my wife called her and explained things, this friend wrote me an apology. Her other friends headed for the hills and they have not contacted her. She asked me last night if she can contact her one friend. This is the one that we had a big argument over early last year. I found out that she was telling my wife to ditch the OM and work on the marriage. She kept telling my wife that she does not know me and that the OM only wants one thing, and he is getting it. I was able to verify this. Her friends were all basically from her high school from over 30 years ago, and I know that they were communicating to each other. I suspect that the one guy I told off shared with them my lengthy email detailing the truth. He basically apologized. My wife has shared with me several times over the past weeks that now she has no friends. The other night she mentioned this when we were at a store and I said, "Do you know how much sympathy I have for you having no friends now?" She said, "Is Jiro?" I said, "Correct." I said, "You did this to yourself by your lies and deceit, and all your friends are gone." Taya, we shut down our antique business. Since our move, the co-op is about 80 miles away, and my wife was using it as an excuse to hook up with the other man. She came up with the suggestion after her confession to end the business. We did last week. Besides, my wife got very sick last week, so I was not able to accomplish most of what I wanted to. She caught what our oldest son had the week before. I really wanted to spend some time with her talking about her affairs, but just couldn't. She went to work today but still is not completely over the flu. I was hoping that taking last week off, I would have quite a bit of time to sit and talk. Due to her illness, it did not happen. I did ask a few questions from time to time and she answered them. 6. I got some things done around the house, not as much as I wanted due to many distractions. Ethan, my wife. It is hard to put into words, but she has changed. What she is doing for me seems to be coming from her heart and not out of obligation. If this makes sense, she answers all questions without hesitation. She has a new attitude towards me, has taken full responsibility for what she has done, has not blame-shifted one thing, has been transparent and fully accountable. She is there for me. I feel that for the first time in our marriage, she is fully committed to me. At 8 weeks, I'm in intense pain. That the stuff she did to me, said Etra, is beyond words. I have told her several times that I'm not sure I will be able to get over it. I said I am trying to work things out, but that it is tough. There are days where I just keep busy and work on projects till I can barely move. She helps me quite a bit on things. I'm glad we got the cheap little hot tub. Actually relax every night in it. I have triggered. Last Tuesday, I got pretty drunk. I had a very bad day. Action as she was at work, and I was running errands. Nothing was working out for me. It seemed like everything came crashing down on me. I drove to Delaware to pick up some items to surprise her, but the store did not have them. After I paid for them online, the girl apologized for the mistake. Then it went from bad to worse, all in my mind. On my way home, I just had a meltdown, stopped at a liquor store and started drinking. By the time I got home, my wife was there and got mad at me for being drunk. I did not yell at her, but I told her I can't take it. She talked to me for a long time, saying this was all her fault, but that I can't be drinking as it will not help a thing. I remember leaving at one point and pulling off the road to take a nap. When I got home, she was in bed and I passed out in the sunroom. All I remember is at one point in the night, she found me and took me to bed. She was already not feeling well and got really sick the following days. I talked with a counselor who shared with me that they believe my wife has changed, but that it may be too late for me. That only time will tell whether I can get over this. We discussed last year. I told the counselor that I feel like a fool for trying to work things out only to find out my wife was still with the other man. The counselor said I was not ready to give up on the marriage, and that this year when I was ready, my wife turned. The counselor said right now it is not about my wife but me. Can I accept her change? Can I ever trust her again? Can I ever get over what she has put me through? I don't have the wow factor when I am around my wife like I used to have. In many ways, I just feel like I'm going through the motions. In the past, when I took time off work, we would go places, but now I do not plan on going anywhere. There is enough to be done on the house to keep me busy. When I look back on our trips, I feel they were all for naught. Right now, we are repairing our finances. My wife feels responsible for this and is working hard. I'm doing more in this regard, and for a while, I just did not care. Now we have some breathing room and things are looking very well for us financially. If things continue the way they are, we will be fine in a few months. Right now, we have a cushion. As far as the marriage is concerned, I am not sure. I've had rotten days but try to keep them to myself. I had a rotten day yesterday. Got home from work and we worked on doing bills online. I was just snoopy. I apologized later and told my wife I had a rotten day and did not feel like being around her. She came over and gave me a long hug and told me how much I mean to her. We got in the hot tub, took a shower, and went to bed. We prayed together and read the scriptures, which has meant a lot to me, but I am just feeling numb. In many ways, I feel vindicated. I have gotten the truth. Her friends were not really her friends. Her family has turned their back on my wife, and that is a puzzle to me in many ways. I had imagined wrongly that my wife had support, but no one came to her rescue except me, and in fact, they abandoned her. My youngest son reconciled with her due to my effort. I have a good relationship with my oldest son. I found that I have some very good friends. My family gave me great support. I do not say any of this gloating. I've been humbled. Many of the things that I thought about my wife were false. She's lost a great deal. Her fake image of herself has been shattered. She built this image of being the victim, abused, manipulated, and controlled, and that image is smashed to pieces. Her years of lying seem to have come to an end. If my wife has the ability to make deep changes and restore trust, then there is hope for this marriage. If she can't, then my marriage will not survive this. Yesterday was our 30th anniversary. I had asked my wife days before if she wanted to do something on our anniversary. And she said she had to work and would be exhausted and would rather wait. It ticked me off, and I just held it inside. So yesterday I was in a rotten mood, and I did not share it with my wife. She went to work and called me around 4:30, asking me if I was coming home, and I said I was. I really did not want to go home and stayed at work. She texted me and wrote, "I knew you would be 2 hours late." I assumed she was mad. I got home and she greeted me with a smile, a kiss, and a big hug, and suggested that we go out. Her idea was great. So out we went. I was still in a rotten mood and did not really want to go out. When we got to the first place, my mood still did not change. We went to a sports bar for dinner. Still no change in me. I did not even have one beer. Got home and my wife suggested we get in the hot tub. And that is when everything changed. We had a great evening. I was assuming she would be mad at me staying late, and she wasn't. She made it a great evening. I'm enjoying her change of heart. Her focus has been on me, and it is showing by her actions. I know she worked hard yesterday, yet she took the time to give me a good evening. I shared with her this morning on my way to work about how I was feeling yesterday, and she said that I need to share those thoughts with her so she can help me through them. And she asked me not to keep those things to myself in the future. I said I had a great time last night, and my wife started to cry, and she said that she did as well and that she needs to hear that because she wanted to give me a good time. This story is not over.